Hi, I'm Mike Rowan, and this is a demonstration of the miniFLASH pack from Cloud9. The miniFLASH was introduced by Cloud9 in early 2015. It provides four 16K banks of programmable flash for ROM packs or DOS-ROM images. To learn more about the miniFLASH or to purchase your own, visit the Cloud9 website at www.cloud9tech.com. The miniFLASH comes with comprehensive and excellent documentation. It also includes all of the utilities you need to transfer ROM images, either from ROM packs or disk files, to the miniFLASH. One of the ROM images that I'm going to be copying in this demonstration today is the diagnostic ROM pack. Now, this pack and most games auto start. In other words, when you plug the cartridge into your color computer, it is automatically detected when you power it on, and the ROM is read and executed automatically. It does this by sensing the cart line, which is pin 8 on the cartridge. Now, the bottom side that you can normally see on a cartridge are the even pins, and the odd ones are on the opposite side of the board that you can't access without opening up the ROM pack. Now, to be able to copy a ROM pack, we have to disable that cart line. Otherwise, when we try to access those memory locations, it'll cause us problems. So that's done by using a piece of Scotch tape to cover pin 8 on the card edge. Now, most game packs from Tandy particularly don't even have these first pins. That would be pin 2, pin 4, pin 6, and pin 8 is the cart line. So you can actually see marks here on the card edge connector in the Coco or in your multi-pack from where of being inserted and pulled out of the computer. So what we've done is place a piece of Scotch tape. You just tape it over here, and I use scissors to trim it off so that it doesn't wrap around and block any of the odd pins on the underside. Okay, for this demonstration I'm going to be using my Coco 2 with the Coco 3 keyboard again. And here's the miniFLASH pack. In my multi-pack, everything's powered off, of course. We're going to put this in slot 3. And the ROMs that I'm going to show that we're copying today are going to be the football cartridge. I'm going to put that in slot 2 of the MPI. And then the diagnostic pack. So we're going to put that in slot 1 of the multi-pack. Just an added note, both of these ROM packs have tape over the cartridge pin, pin 8. The miniFLASH has 4 banks of flash that you can copy ROMs to. So it can hold up to 4 ROM images. Those ROM images can be well, anything you can put on a ROM, an operating system, a game, a diagnostic pack. You can copy the ROM from different disk controllers. In our example, we're going to start off by copying 2 ROM packs, the football ROM pack and the diagnostic ROM pack. We'll start off by running the getROM utility to copy the ROM to disk. So we'll run getROM. The first thing it's going to ask us is which slot is the ROM that we want to copy currently in. Well, we're going to copy the football ROM, which we put in slot 2 of the MPI. So we'll tell it 2. Then it's going to ask us the size of the ROM. It gives us a choice of 8K or 16K. If you don't know the size of the ROM, 16K is safe to use for any of them, really. It'll just copy garbage data for the top 8K. I believe this one's 8K, so I'm going to select 1 for 8K. Then it's going to ask us for file name. This is football, so we'll call it football. And then it begins to copy the ROM. In this case, 63 pages. It's done. It gives us a checksum that we can use to verify it if we want to. Now that we have copied the ROM image to disk, we can copy it into one of the flash banks using the flash program. So we will run flash. And the first thing it's going to ask us is which base address we're using. This is all outlined very clearly in the documentation. By default, the base address is FF59, and that's what I'm using as the default address. The only reason you would change that is if there was some conflict with some other hardware device you had connected to your COCO. Otherwise, stick with FF59. So we'll select option 2. Then it wants to know which slot is the flash pack currently in. And we've got it in slot 3. That's where our mini-flash is. Which 16K bank of the flash do we want to write to? We'll select 0. And then it wants the file name. We called it football. And there it goes. It is copying from disk to that flash bank. All right, it's done, and it gives us the checksum. Press any key to continue, and it's done. What we're going to do now is copy the diagnostic pack that we still have in slot 1 of the MPI. And instead of copying it to disk and then copying it from disk to the mini-flash, we're going to use the ROM exfer program, which will do it directly. It'll read it from the ROM and write it directly to the mini-flash. So all we have to do is run ROM exfer. Same thing, it's going to ask us which base address we're using. We're using the default FF59. Which MPI slot is the ROM currently in? The ROM is currently in multi-pack slot 1. And which MPI slot is the mini-flash currently in? That's still in 3. And then it asks us which bank we'd want to put it into. Well, we put football into bank 0. So we'll put diag into bank 1. So I'll say 1. And I think this is an 8K, but I'm just going to use 16K just to be safe. It just takes a little longer because it has to copy more pages, twice the pages. And there it goes. It's reading from slot 1 and writing it to a bank in slot 3, the mini-flash. And it's done. With the COCO powered off, we're going to remove the flash pack and we're going to insert it by itself. The first thing we're going to run through is the software switching. Through software, through a poke, you can control the register that points to the bank that you are going to see on the mini-flash. So now we only have one cartridge in the multi-pack interface. It's in slot 4. We have the mini-flash plugged in to slot 4. And the first dip switch on the mini-flash controls whether it will auto-start, whether it's enabled or disabled. Currently it's disabled, so when we power up the COCO, the only thing we're going to see is the standard color basic 1.1, which you see here. Access one of our banks, we just have to set a poke, which sets the register to point to either flash bank numbers 0, 1, 2, or 3. So we just simply poke that value in. Now our base address, as we saw earlier, was hex FF59. So we're going to poke in the value of either 0, 1, 2, or 3. We put the diagnostic pack into bank 1. So I'll say bank 1 so we can pull up the diagnostic pack. And just to prove that, we will do a peek of that address. And you can see it's set to 1. Now that we've pointed it to that bank, we can simply execute from C000, which is the address you use for a ROM pack to start. And there we go. We have the diagnostic menu. And it will work just like the diagnostic cart from this point on. I'll just select the video test here as an example. So if I press reset, it should just return us to basic because again that auto start dip switch is in the disabled position. Let's run what's in bank 0 on the flash. So we'll do it again. We'll poke our base address, which is the register in the pack, and this time we'll say 0 so that we can run what's in flash bank 0. And then we'll execute C000. There we go. There's the football cartridge that we put in bank 0. I already have loaded two different things in Bank 2 and Bank 3. I'll just show you. So I'll hit reset here. I want to see what's in Bank 2. I've got video text in Bank 2. So we'll poke and H, FF59. I will say Bank 2. We will execute the cartridge start. And there we are. Hit reset one more time, and let's see what's in the fourth bank. Now this is outlined clearly in the documentation. What I have in Bank 4 is JDOS. So disk operating systems don't use the auto start feature, the cart pin. So they have to be started a little bit differently, but it's not too difficult. So first we have to poke 113,0, and then we will poke our base address FF59 to tell it Bank 3, that's our fourth bank. And then we execute 40999. Again, it's outlined in the documentation. And there we go. We got our JDOS prompt. We've shown how we can use software by poking a value into the register which flash bank we want to point to in the miniFLASH. Now what we're going to do is look at how the dip switches work on the miniFLASH. The dip switches are located on the side, and these control the default behavior of the miniFLASH when you power on your Coco. Alright, now what we're going to do is set the dip switches on the side of the pack here. No, it's kind of difficult to see. The first switch is the auto switch, and that is disabled. It's in the up position or off. And then the other two switches select which of the banks. So it's set right now with both of these up. That means 3, and that means in Bank 3 we had JDOS. So now when we plug the cartridge in and turn on the Coco, it should come up in JDOS. Now that the dip switches are set to Bank 3, it should come up in JDOS, even though we've got the card enable dip switch, the first dip switch, set to the disable position. So when we power up the Coco, you can see that it's automatically loading in JDOS. Now I'm going to change the dip switches on the miniFLASH so that it will automatically start on Bank 0, which was our football game. And because this is football is a game we want to auto start, we're going to also enable the dip switch 1 for the automatic start for the cart line. So we'll set dip switch 1 to on, which is enable, and then we will set the other two, dip switch 2 and 3 to on, which is Bank 0. Now that the bank switches have been set to Bank 0, I've actually enabled the auto start so that it should automatically start what we put in Bank 0, which was football. So when we power on the Coco, there you go. It automatically starts football. Well, that wraps it up for this demonstration of the Cloud9 miniFLASH. Thanks for watching, and long live Coco.